Hello. I'm Matthew Bergman. I'm Matthew Bergman.
Matthew J. Bergman and Associates.
and you're listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode 67.
Yep.
We're like 2 away from 69.
Oh man,
how great is that?
You gotta line something special
I'd like to make sure I'm back for that.
For that magical number.
Yeah, dude. How about 68 and I owe you one?
I don't get it.
That means you blow me and we'll just say that I owe you one.
Well, that's a real good deal for you.
I know. That's what I'm saying, dude.
I don't know if I am cool with that.
Sleep on it.
Okay.
Or
Literally?
or you can sit on it. So, okay. Wow, this week it's been fucking insane, you know? So, what was it? Was it Wednesday?
I do know.
Was it Tuesday or Wednesday when you had 2 police shootings?
The first one? They weren't.
It was Tuesday and Wednesday.
They were on the same day.
It was within
though.
24 hours, but I thought they were 2 different days.
No, it was Wednesday, I believe.
It was Wednesday?
Yeah, it was Wednesday.
You know, one of them was like 12:30 in the morning of the night before. That was almost Sterling. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I didn't get home from work till like after like 9:30 on Wednesday, and all day apparently there was Alton Sterling this, you know that. And you know, so that was really hitting the news. And then I was working on the website on Wednesday night, and I remember I finished like 8 articles for the next day or something, and then in my news feed, like I just started seeing Philando Castle stuff just popping up. Yeah, I saw one article and I was like, what the fuck, another one? You know? Yeah. And then it was a rare article that I read, and there was like little to no information on it at this point. It was just popping up. You know,
it was fresh.
Yeah. So then I was Googling it, and I was able to get together an article on it from like a few different sources, like CBS and some other stuff. Yeah. And oh man, it was just fucking crazy to have like 2 of those going in the same fucking night.
And 2 of them caught on camera on the same day too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's other ones that have happened that just aren't on camera.
Now, okay, so when I first heard about the Alton Sterling thing, I gotta say, like, I got really fucking mad because everybody was like presenting it like cops were doing this to him because he was selling CDs. Yeah. Which, I mean, dude, I was getting like ridiculously fucking mad and upset. Yeah. Then I actually read into the story. Apparently, the only reason the cops came was because somebody called and reported that he had a gun and he was threatening them with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that too.
So it's like, you know, at first it sounded like people were trying to like drum up the story, trying to say the cops did this shit over CDs, you know? Yeah. You know, and at that point it was like, I guess it was like triggering me off because I kept thinking about...
You were triggered, dude?
Yeah, I kept thinking about like Eric Garner and the cigarettes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and really this wasn't the case. If you're threatening somebody's life, you know, I mean...
Have you seen the video of the shooting?
I did. Well, I'd like to hear what you think about the video, because dude, like I'm critical as a motherfucker of police. I'm one of those people like I doubt the existence of a good cop because you know, police like enforce a lot of fucked up laws. Yeah, and it's like, how good could you really be? Because if you don't enforce those laws, I mean, you're not even going to be a cop for long. So it just seems like a really good cop couldn't be a cop for very long. Yeah. So that's just the way I look at it. So, you know, I'm very skeptical of the police to begin with. But then I saw this video, and it's honestly, it's just hard to tell. Because, I mean, no matter who you are, it's I believe, innocent until proven guilty. And honestly, I'm going to have a prejudice against police officers. But in this video, you know, like, there's actually 2 videos of while it was going down. And from either angle, like, I couldn't really tell if Alton Sterling was going for his gun or not. It wasn't visible. Right. You know, so I don't know what the officers are seeing or dealing with. I can tell there's some wrestling going on over there.
It was, I mean,
but didn't they have him? Weren't they both on top of him when they shot him?
The one was directly on top of him. The other one,
can you see where his hands are?
No, you can't see where his hands are, but that's because there's a cop laying on top of him.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but we can't see. So I look at it like,
no, I know, I understand what you're saying. I'm not. Yeah. It's nothing about that. I'm just saying, when it's all said and done, I only saw one angle video, and it was the one from kind of right behind his head, and you know, I didn't see any other angle video. But when it's all said and done, the one police officer comes over and has to reach into his pocket to remove the gun. So I'm just saying, like, it was deep in his pocket. Even in that struggle, it never even fell out. I mean, it was like, you know, it was like a cargo pocket.
Yes, but I mean, if they knew the gun was in the guy's pocket, and say the guy had his hand in his pocket even, or he was reaching for his pocket, you know, I mean, the bottom line is, it's I just look at it like, you know, I don't know, so I couldn't make, you know, and I'm gonna say I'm prejudiced against cops, but I don't know. I don't think we should necessarily champion a case where, you know, if we can't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the cops say that he was going for his gun, and you can't tell if he did or if he didn't, I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Jared? You're being quite quiet, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's innocent till proven guilty, like you said, and I mean, it isn't directly obvious. Like, I only saw the one angle, and you could barely see what was going on. I mean, you just saw him on the ground, and it was like the one that was like filmed from inside the car.
Yeah, I saw the one that was filmed from outside the car.
Oh, I didn't even see that one.
It's less than 10 yards away. It's very close.
Yeah, I got to check that one out. But I mean, yeah. The thing is, I say this every time one of these shootings happens. Like, the only one that I've ever seen that is like clear as day that the police were in the wrong is the Eric Garner case.
Really, the only one?
Did you see the?
Well, the only one that the media like blows up, and that doesn't mean that I don't necessarily side. That don't side against the police. Like, for example, for Freddie Gray, you know, I think the fact that they all got off is complete horseshit.
Yeah.
But there wasn't any video for that. All I'm saying is, like, it seems like the media picks like the most controversial stories, like the most unclear, could go either way stories to jump on, because they want there to be that argument back and forth. They want the comment thread to be, oh, you know, the police officer was in the right. Oh, you know, this is just another black man getting killed by police officers.
Well, if you were reporting exactly, I'm not taking away from what you're saying, but if they had to actually report things that were definitely in the clear, they would just feed one side's narrative versus the other side's, and probably lose a good portion of their audience and then their ad revenue because of that. And,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm sure you know that. It's not like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it just it doesn't mean that there isn't, even if this cop was in the right, or these cops were in the right in this scenario, this shit is happening all the time. It's not always caught on video, and it doesn't always lead to death, but it can lead to other things.
Well, you know, there's also, what is it, Walter Scott? You know, there's his video where you know, you see a cop shooting him in the back.
Yeah. Or is that the one where he was camping?
No.
Walter Scott. Walter Scott.
When he was running away.
Yeah, that's a clear as day one, but does the media pump that up? No.
Not as much as it should have been.
No.
Yeah,
of course
totally.
not.
It's like clear as day. He got shot in the back. Yeah. That's what I'm saying is, like, we're being manipulated by the media, you know?
And then
they just want, you know, it's the same way that BuzzFeed wants to put out listicles. You know, they want they want eyeballs, they want clicks, they want ad revenue, and you're not going to get ad revenue from something that's just a clear-cut murder. You're going to get ad revenue from this endless debate about whether who was in the right or who was in the wrong.
Weren't the officers' body cams not working?
Oh yeah, they were conveniently not working either.
Wow, neither of them.
It's funny that they would both break at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, when it was all said and done, they shot him 5 times, 2 of which were the gun. Actually, you can see the first 2. The gun is actually pressed up to his chest. I mean, when that officer steps away, it's a pool of blood on this guy's chest. It looked like they took a watermelon carver and just scooped out a big chunk. It's and
then they kept shooting him.
I'm sorry?
And then they kept shooting him after that.
Yeah, well, there was 2 shots then, and then it got up, and then there was another 3 shots after that. You know, the whole thing just seems to be incredibly excessive. I just don't understand how it needs to come to a fight on the ground. I mean, more than likely they hadn't seen the gun.
Right.
They had heard a report of a guy with a gun. What they have is a guy selling CDs, and he's dead. You know, and to be fair, and I'm not saying that the police weren't in the right, because you didn't see what happened up to that point.
Yeah.
But what I could see, I didn't see a man presenting clear and imminent danger to the lives of either one of those police officers. He was on his back, on the ground, with one cop holding him. The other cop wasn't holding him down. One cop had him down. That second cop, I mean, he was already down. He wasn't going anywhere. That second cop could have further subdued him. You know, twice as much force on top of him.
Right.
They could have forced a situation where he was arrested instead of shot. But they were scared, or they're fucking pussies. I don't know. But either way, a guy who clearly didn't need to be shot was shot a lot.
Yeah. So, what about the other case? I actually have not yet watched that video because I just got fucking overwhelmed, man. I got overwhelmed like this weekend. I had to like get off Facebook.
Yeah.
It was just like everything, just the shit people were saying, the fucking arguments people were having, the fucking grandstanding, virtue signaling bullshit that everybody was doing. Yeah. I got overloaded, and I just like fucking just deleted all my shortcuts so I couldn't just quickly go to Facebook. Instinctually go to Facebook. So yeah. I haven't seen that one yet, but from what I heard, that's more clear.
You don't actually see the shooting. It takes place directly after the shooting. I mean, he's still slumping over as it happens. His girlfriend had her cell phone and pulled it out, and I don't remember what it's called, where you can stream live straight to Facebook from your... Do you know what that's called?
Yeah, well, live stream.
Is that, that's what they call it. I have no fucking clue. I've never used it.
I think that's called face sitting.
Oh, face sitting. Well, anyway, she face-sitted this guy dying.
That's fucked up.
Hey, he said it.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm laughing because we said face-sitting, but it's probably one of the most disgusting fucking things I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
The cop is standing there, obviously panicked, just fucking screaming, probably half through tears, that I told him something. I don't know what. He did have a gun, but he had a gun legally.
Wasn't he just reaching into his...
They asked him for his license and registration. He was reaching for his license and registration, and he told them, I have I'm licensed to carry, and I have a concealed carry permit. And I'm licensed to carry, and I'm carrying whatever he had on him at the time, which is,
that's what you're supposed to do.
It's exactly what you're supposed to do. In most states, you're not required to do that, but it's what you are supposed to do.
It's just a good idea, so you don't. Yeah. You don't open your glove box and a gun falls out. Or
exactly.
Exactly. So
well, the proper procedure. It's just weird that I just know about this. I read a really good book by Masad Ayub called "In the Gravest Extreme." Have you ever read it?
No.
Or Matt, have you ever read it? It's specifically about if you ever had to, as a citizen, if you ever had to shoot somebody, what to expect and all that. It's kind of the legality of all of it. Mm-hmm. But the point is, if you tell the police, I'm licensed to carry, I have my weapon on me, the cop is supposed to stop everything right then and there. Standard, proper procedures, the cop's supposed to stop everything, ask you to put your hands where he can see them, ask you where, and then go through, there's a series of questions that they have,
right.
Where is the weapon loaded, so on and so on, and then the cop will tell you how to proceed.
Yeah.
And that clearly, obviously didn't happen, and the guy was shot 4 times, like through the arm and through the chest.
So wait, what allegedly happened? He claimed that he told the officer he had a gun, and then reached for his
license was in his pocket. You've got a man like sitting in a car, like you can't fucking pull a gun out like that. But either way,
I'm trying to get
the cop told him like you give you your license registration like a cop would, and he's reaching over to grab it, and as he's reaching over to grab it, he's telling the cop, I have a license to carry and I'm carrying, and then the cop just immediately shot him.
Oh Jesus!
4 times. With a fucking baby in the back seat and his girlfriend sitting directly next to him, just firing into a fucking car.
Okay. Well, that kind of goes against my media theory then, because that seems to me to be pretty clearly murder.
Well, they were pulled over for a busted taillight.
Yeah, and then I read the next day that there was no busted taillight. Like maybe they were just making that shit up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not surprising.
Well, you pull over a car full of black people in kind of a rundown old car, and chances are you're going to get something on them. And
yeah.
Why, dude? What are you saying?
I'm saying that the institution is racist and uses that against black people.
No, yeah, totally. Did you hear? I heard the next day that a white dude was actually killed by police who was unarmed, and there was no.
There was a kid who was driving around. It was like there was a Hispanic kid. I think I want to say like somewhere in California was driving around, and an unmarked police car followed him into a cul-de-sac, and he like tried to run away from it because he didn't know it was a cop.
Yeah.
And the cop shot through the windshield and killed him.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I haven't.
But we're not hearing. Yeah. You're not really.
No, you're not
going
to hear about that. It's what's not popular right now. Black Lives Matter is popular right now. And that's what's going to sell. And that does not at all in any way degrade what happened.
No.
You know, it's fucking tragic what happened, but this is happening all over the place all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, are they just going to start reporting if they had to report every case of it, we just have a 24/7 network show of who was killed in this past 5 minutes by police.
Like, have you guys ever looked into like the numbers, like the percentages of people killed by cops?
Yeah,
because I've heard that actually more white people are killed by cops.
Well, there's more white people, but is percentage of the population wise.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's just like I feel like, you know, of course the media just goes after it every time there's a black thing. You know, every time a black person gets killed.
Yeah, and.
You know, it's like that's the narrative, and it's like the Black Lives Matter thing. It's like I feel like right now they're getting like the Black Lives Matter people are getting like really pissed when you say all lives matter, and it's you know I understand, you know, you should be concerned about black people, you know, because the media is throwing up all these incidences showing the black people, but it's like it's happening to everybody. You know, and I think it's more of like an institutional police problem than a race problem.
Well, it's an institution. It's multi-layered, I think.
I mean, ultimately, nobody should be getting killed like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the thing is,
that's all I'm saying. No matter what race you are.
You and I, and I'm imagining Jared too, though, have been saying that for years and years and years and years and years, long before Black Lives Matter was rolling off anyone's tongues. So for what I consider right-thinking individuals like us, this is old news, and we've been talking about it for a long time now, but now it's become part of the public lexicon, and it's manipulated like everything else is manipulated now, you know, for money, for hits, for clicks, for whatever. Mm-hmm. So, you know, for the majority of the population, the majority of the non-black population, this is something that they didn't know about.
Right. Well, the one thing I would say in defense of the idea of Black Lives Matter, not necessarily execution, is that it's not only just police brutality that they're trying to raise awareness about. I mean, there are problems unique to the black community that other communities don't face, and you know, it's just like the institutionalized racism in the sense of like the drug war tends to negatively affect black folks. It affects everybody, but it tends to more negatively affect them. You know, the predatory welfare state, that tends to impact black people more. No, I'm good on that, man. So, I mean, there's a continuum of it. I don't necessarily fault people for wanting to focus. I don't know, but then at the same time, it's like now you're collectivizing, and you're not making. It's not a human problem. It's this is a problem that just affects people with a specific amount of melanin in their skin. I don't know. I guess I'm sort of torn between it. Like, I understand why they get upset, because like that community wants to focus on their relationship with society, and then when you come in and you say, well, all lives matter, it's like, well, yeah, all lives matter, but we're trying to focus on our shit. It should go without saying, but we feel like our lives aren't mattering. And whether that's a perceived thing or a reality, I don't know. You know, I mean, I think if you get shit on long enough, you're going to feel like that, whether it's a reality or not. And it's really, you know, a very different experience than a lot of people are I mean, there's definitely there's definitely racial profiling that goes on. that doesn't happen. Like you said earlier, like the car got stopped, no taillight. Why did it get stopped? It was filled with black people. You know, I mean, there is racism out there.
Yeah.
And though I don't think it's as pervasive as the progressives would like us to think, I still think it's out there. But I don't know that you can... The problem is I don't know that you can solve racism. But I know what you can solve, and that's government.
Yeah.
And you know, just get rid of that shit. As much of it as you can, and then you don't... Then it's not institutionalized. It just kind of floats in the ether, and someone might shout out the N-word, but they don't carry a badge, and they don't carry a gun, and they don't have a license to kill, you know?
Yeah.
So... And going off of that, I wanted to bring up, what are your guys' thoughts on disarming the police?
I think that would be a very poor decision in America.
Here's...
For the same reason. It's funny, actually. It just hit the same thing in me immediately that it hits when, you know, someone wants to talk about, you know, repealing the Second Amendment or taking away private citizens' rights to have their gun. And the classic argument is, well, then only the criminals will have guns.
Yeah. So
but hold on.
I just think we live in kind of a little bit more of a violent society than, you know, perhaps people in Australia.
Well, I'm with you, Pat Rose.
You're with Pat on this?
I am.
You think cops should be armed?
I think, as John Vibes commented last week, I think what John Vibes said is true. He said cops should be more like security guards.
But security guards are not armed typically.
Well, I mean, I think you could have them be armed security guards. You know, I think if cops were I think the main problem is cops going after victimless crime.
Well,
exactly.
Well, so here's what I'm getting at with this. I think if you had cops. If you pass a law that said cops can't carry weapons, or they can't carry guns, like they can still carry tasers, they can still carry batons, they can't carry guns, I think by effect you'd have a decline or a decrease in the war on drugs, and you'd have less chance of more laws being passed, because you'd have to think through it like, okay, if we pass this law, that means if somebody breaks this law, we have to send a cop in there. So that means there has to be an altercation, which means there is an increased chance of violence.
Yeah.
So what I think it would do by effect is sort of reduce the amount of police interactions. And so like they wouldn't be going for people having drugs or even selling drugs. They wouldn't be just pulling people over for not having a broken taillight.
Right.
You know, it would just be, oh, this guy's in a criminal act, we need to stop it. And of course, you know, if this was to happen, that doesn't mean we don't have like SWAT teams for like a bank heist, or if there's like a fucking active shooter in a mall. Yeah, you get somebody with a gun in there for sure. And then I also think it would work a lot better if like people were armed. Because then you wouldn't need the cops to show up with guns, because people would be there to take care of it.
I agree with you on that.
So, while I don't think it's not, you know, it's like the same thing with anarchy. Like, I don't want to push the disarm the cop button tomorrow, per se. But I do think it would eventually be possible, and I do think it would have some ripple effects that would be net positives. And then, so, like, I know this is like kind of apples and oranges, but it is an interesting case study. In Iceland, a third of the people own guns, but none of their cops carry guns. Now I know they don't have the same, you know, shit that we have going on here, and it's a much less violent place. They had their first police related shooting in like 2013 in the history of their whole country. So it can work. Now, I mean, like I said, you know, with stipulations that it's a different culture, it's like a homogenous, like it's pretty much all white people there. There's no like racial divide. There's no massive drug war there. But it is an example of you can have the people have guns and the cops not have guns, and it's not just the people running around like fucking Mad Max killing everybody.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I'm just bringing it up, you know. I think it's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to think about.
Okay. Anything else you guys want to say about police brutality?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we didn't talk about the next night in Dallas.
Oh yeah, of course.
You don't want to talk about Dallas, Jared?
I'll talk about Dallas.
So
the TV show.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so yeah, the next night in Dallas, like, I guess that broke. I think it was like 12:30 at night or something. Like, or actually, maybe it was.
I didn't find out until morning.
Yeah, I found out the next morning.
Well, I
it was Friday night. Yeah, it was Friday night.
Yeah. Well,
no,
Thursday night.
Thursday night. Yeah. Like, I found out in like the wee hours of the morning I was making articles for the next day and shit, and like I got shit up on Facebook, tried to get it out there right away. But I actually posted live feeds of the shit going on there, and you could hear gunshots in the background.
Wow.
It was fucking crazy. And I don't know, like, so, and I heard a newscaster kind of like doing a play-by-play, and he just starts really pissing me off because he's calling what the shooter's doing, he's calling it a cowardly act. Whereas, like, I mean, I'll call it wrong. You know, murder's wrong, no matter who you're murdering. But I wouldn't say what he was doing is a cowardly act. I think the shooter went into that situation knowing that he was definitely going to die.
Yeah.
Like, so I wouldn't say it's a cowardly act. If anything, you know, I mean...
Yeah, but you don't think, like, sniping is, like, a cowardly act?
No.
You don't think, like, Chris Kyle is, like, kind of like a coward for, like...
This guy knew that he was going to die. This guy knew that he was going to get caught.
I mean, if I wanted I guess that's different than, like, a military sniper where, like, you might not die.
I'm not saying it was totally wrong, but he wasn't... the guy fucking had balls.
If it's... I mean, it's not a matter of bravery or cowardice. It's a matter of tactical thinking versus, you know, like blitzkrieg thinking. You know, if this guy was to just walk into a police station and start shooting, he'd be dead almost immediately, and he could do very, very little damage. But if you want to do the most damage possible, you know, something like sniping is great because you can kill 3, 4, 5 people. You can and greatly injure another group of people.
Yeah,
because you don't go into this for political reasons. You go into this to do as much damage as possible.
You know, well, I'm getting really mad at this point though, because like I'm thinking to myself, and I'm thinking, I've never heard a newscaster call, you know, like talking about a police officer shooting an unarmed person and addressing that as a cowardly act.
Yeah.
Never heard it.
No.
Never heard it. It fucking pisses me off. That's shooting an unarmed person.
Why is he even like passing like a judgmental description on it? Like, how is that fucking journalism?
Because it's cops. So, and it's hands across America the next day. Can you believe what happened, motherfucker? You didn't come up to me on Thursday and say, "Could you believe what happened?"
Yeah.
When 2 people were killed.
What is hands across America?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying. Then like all of a sudden, it seems like a lot of people are getting
up on their soapboxes,
or a lot of people are getting upset, you know, now that police officers have been killed. But you know, cops have killed 500 people this year. You know.
Yeah, it's called blowback.
Yeah, exactly. You know, not to justify
no,
the actions.
I mean,
of the
blowback
shooter,
isn't justified in the same sense. It's not justified.
Exactly.
9/11 isn't justified, but you can't deny that at least a portion of that is blowback.
Oh, exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know, man. I started thinking about all that, and I started to, like, scare myself because it kind of seems like there's this, like, fucking divide that's happening in America. And it's like it's like a left and a right divide, but it's like it seems like it's getting more violent. And then there's just, like, cops versus the people divide. And I don't know, man. It just feels like there's going to be some kind of, like, crazy fucking civil war. Like, I know I'm being a little apocalyptic saying that, but just like seeing all the posts like the next day of like you have these people that are just like getting up on their soapboxes and like doing what's called virtue signaling, where they basically just want to let everyone know that they're not racist, you know what I mean? And then you've got people who are just actually racist and they're just saying all sorts of fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh man, dude, it's fucking getting real in America, and we all should fucking buy guns if you don't already have one.
Lots of guns.
But I think we already have guns, so I think we're good.
It's probably true.
The punk rock libertarians are good.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, man. I had to shut off Facebook over the weekend because I was just getting too stressed out.
You know, and then like I think the last topic of that goes along with this that I want to touch on, fondle, is the fact that we the government just used a drone on U.S. soil to kill a U.S. citizen.
What?
I
thought they used a robot, like a on the ground robot.
Well, a drone.
I guess is that technically a drone? Is that called a drone?
Well,
I thought a drone had to be like flying.
Technical smacknical. I don't know. There's the robot.
They set their bomb robot in there to blow him up.
Yeah, what the fuck is that shit? I mean, that's kind of cowardly, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
That is cowardly, yeah.
Yeah,
the odds are in your favor.
I didn't hear the media at all touching on that cowardly act.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think cowardice is relevant at all, but it is funny. It is funny to point out the hypocrisy, though.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you.
Well, something like this only serves to further polarize people who weren't already thinking about it to begin with. You'll have the ultra right wing people and the ultra left wing people.
Right.
But when, frequently a police shooting will happen in some sort of situation where there actually might have been something shifty going on. There are justified police shootings. Yeah. And there are a lot of unjustified ones. But someone just climbing up to the top of a building and shooting random police officers, this has nothing to do with cowardice or not, but there's something wrong-headed about that. And I don't mean the blowback, but the I'm just going to kill random people. There's just something a little bit off with that. It's not really a political statement you're making. It's just, I think, a crazy person or a slightly unhinged person who latched on a particular idea, and that's how they saw it out. But either way, you've got ultra-right people, ultra-left people, taking this their own directions no matter what. But when something like this happens, it's going to further polarize people who weren't, weren't
people feel like
the
they have to, pick a side.
Not only do they feel like they have to pick a side, someone will say something that insults part of their viewpoint, and then that'll start pushing them in one direction, and it just ends up like that.
Right.
I've seen some friends who I consider pretty open-minded lately get more and more conservative in their viewpoints or more and more liberal in their viewpoints, just depending on which friends it is.
Right.
But I think, just an example of the Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter thing, people really, the people who even say one or the other usually are just already completely polarized, and they say things that will touch on stuff that other people are feeling, but it just fucks everything up.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, man. It's on the one hand, it's kind of nice to seeing anybody complain about any kind of police brutality, whether you say Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter.
Yeah.
But it's generally, I just touch on police brutality. I just touch on another cop killing another person.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not trying to pull any sort of race card out by listing the victim's race.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said before, how can you
just call for an end to the violence? Period.
Right. Exactly. Because the thing is, you can't end racism. I mean, racism.
Well, I mean, you could. I think you.
I mean, but if you want to end racism, that's really thought control. And thought control is impossible. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, look, everyone has racist thoughts. Maybe not.
Matt and I don't.
Maybe not. Maybe not you hate, I hate black people thoughts, but you might see a certain person walking down the road and automatically have a certain...
prejudice.
A certain idea about that
prejudgment.
person. Prejudgment.
Look at that Jew.
Yeah. I'll bet he's going to pick up that quarter. So, I mean, look, it's something that is just ingrained. It's an evolutionary trait to... It's like a tribalistic evolutionary trait that evolved in us.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we have to act on it, right? But see what... And so... Since we can't actually get rid of those thoughts and those ideas, but what we can do is we can get rid of the institutionalization of those ideas and the ability of people with more of those ideas than others that want to act out on it, let's not give them authority. Let's not give them a system where they can manifest those racist ideas and actually like affect people's lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Word. Anything else on that topic? Do you? I think there's going to be more of these.
Yeah, I mean,
not both things. I think there's going to be more police shootings, police killing people, and people killing police.
I'm interested in seeing the rise of that, and not for gruesome reasons, but just because it's going to really affect a lot of things. It's I feel like we're like almost to the point of like Atlas Shrugged. Like you can't even, things are just going to fall apart. And I'm very curious to see where that's going to take us.
Yeah.
Hey, Jared,
shit's about to get real. What?
Jared, are you a fan of Ayn Rand?
Not a fan. No.
Me neither, dude.
I mean, I like some of her stuff.
So what?
No, I'm just fucking. I was just fucking.
You can't talk about Ayn Rand on this podcast.
No. I mean, honestly,
Austin Peterson.
Honestly, like I think she said some cool shit. She just comes off as like a bitch a lot of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just referring to the plot of the book, though.
No, yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Either way, as far as I'm concerned, Ayn Rand wrote a good book. She wrote one really good book, The Fountainhead. It's totally worth reading, and everything else is just you're being preached at. That's it.
Yeah, I need to read The Fountainhead. I heard
The Fountainhead is
like one of the best.
You know what it is? Atlas Shrugged is basically her creating like 10 characters and then interjecting into them what she would consider to be the best trait possible or the worst trait possible, and then pitting them against each other for like a million pages. It's really hard to read because so much of it is dialogue that is obviously just a philosophical thought put into words as opposed to like natural dialogue. Whereas The Fountainhead is
an actual story.
It's a story. It's a narrative, and it gets her philosophy across. It gets objectivism across through the actions of the character, not through someone just saying, "This is how I feel and this is how I think about this."
Yeah,
and it's actually it's a pretty good story too. You know?
Yeah.
You know, like, because I would want to read a good story.
That one's a long one too, though, isn't it?
It's not as bad as Atlas Shrugged. It's
okay.
It's like 2/3 the size.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, I'll have to put that on the list.
So there. Oh, you know what? You could skip all that, and they did a movie with Gary Cooper.
Really?
You could just watch that instead because it fucking sticks ridiculously close to the book.
Okay. Well, what's it called? Is the movie called Fountainhead?
The Fountainhead, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It stars Gary Cooper. It's really good.
Huh.
Have you seen the Atlas Shrugged movie?
I've refused to watch that. It looks like a fucking steaming pile of bullshit.
Yeah, I never watched it.
Yeah, I think I did try to watch a little bit of each of them, and I just didn't make it through it. I thought it was a yawner. So,
yeah.
You know. So, dude, Pat Rose, man, you haven't been on here in a while, have you, dude?
No, after like Lemmy died, and I've been in a depression since then. That was like Christmas.
So you were on here around Christmas?
No, I wasn't here at Christmas. Okay. I was here before. It was like fall. Wait.
Yeah,
when did you move? When did you?
I would guess it was like September. Or
it was
October.
shortly after you moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So man, dude. So have you been? You been good? Or?
I've been very good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
No. There's nothing going on.
Cool.
It's the same old.
Sweet.
But it's been good.
Dude, you didn't happen to hear the podcast we did last week with Status Ned, did you?
No, I haven't heard the last two. I haven't caught up.
Dude, it was pretty funny. I think you would get some enjoyment out of this, dude. So, like, Status Ned, he's been coming over, like, for years, and he just, like, smokes my weed, which is cool. But what he does is, do you know when you pass somebody the bowl, and then instead of lighting off the corner, which is, like, what you want to do, he just torches the whole thing up and passes it back to you. And then he does it like every fucking time. Yeah. So
Matt gets very upset about this.
Well, dude, yeah. Wouldn't you get upset about it?
I think I just did that to you just like a little bit ago.
I don't know, man.
I feel like this is actually like it's a bullshit story because I'm pretty sure I did that a little bit ago.
Dude, I didn't notice that. But anyways, so he'd been doing this for a long time.
He just has this great story out of nowhere.
No, he did tell the story.
Dude,
I'm playing.
So I told my buddy about this, and he was like, "Man, I just wouldn't let him smoke out of the bowl." So then I got the idea, you know, rather than letting Status Ned smoke out of the bubbler as usual, I was gonna put him on the kiddie bowl. So I have like the small, like 2-inch long bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm calling it the kiddie bowl. And he's getting really upset every time I bring it up, but he still smokes weed anyways because he wants to smoke weed, you know.
I don't think he did smoke it though.
Maybe not at the podcast, but the night before he did. Yeah. But anyways, like last night we were hanging out, and he convinced me to give him like a probationary trial period back on the bubbler. So we're just gonna try that out and see how it works.
That's really kind of you.
Yeah. That's what I was suggested. I said put him on a probationary period.
Well, I couldn't just put him on it right away, you know. But I mean, now he's back on it.
We're gonna punish him first.
We're gonna see how it goes. So
we were just talking about what the best Starbursts were, and Matt says it was pink. What about you, Jared?
Yeah, well, now you just made it obvious that we cut in like before, like okay, so we went to have a smoke break, and then we were talking about the best Starburst.
Yeah.
Are we recording right now?
Yes.
Yeah,
we're
it's all
recording right now. Yes.
Well, we had a break, folks. Deal with it.
Okay.
Wild card.
So it's cool because we told you we didn't really inconvenience you at all because you didn't really hear that we had a break just because we like stopped. So you know, the audience can't be too mad.
But I would have to.
Well, if they've listened this far, they actually like the show, so it's okay. They'll forgive your break.
I will agree with the pink Starburst being the best, though.
Yeah, I will too.
Or
it's unanimous.
Or light blue.
Light blue.
They don't make light blue Starburst.
It's like one of the some like weird flavor.
Yeah, they have those like tropical packs.
Oh,
wow, sounds a little fruity, dude.
It is. It is in fact.
So, okay. So, did you guys see that video that TMZ put up yesterday? With it was like entitled
TMZ.
Yeah, it was entitled.
I promise you, I didn't.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee that I have not seen this.
Well, yeah, it was entitled like Gary Johnson invites Snoop and Taylor, or begs Taylor Swift and Snoop Dogg to come on board. You know,
yeah.
So that was what the video was entitled. So, but in this, which overall, you know, I thought it was a pretty cool video. He was ragging on like the police brutality. He said it was a problem and blah blah blah. And you know, overall, I thought he did pretty well. But then when he was asked about the Hillary Clinton email thing, he's like, "Oh, that's not my place to comment." And it's just like once again, this is just more weak shit, dude. It's like,
well, you heard him say that he didn't think it was a criminal act, right?
Which is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's, you know, I've talked to so many people about this. I've talked to friends about this that like work for the government.
How old is the video?
Like I've had friends that work for the government tell me that like, or they may even work for like some company who's contracted by the government.
Yeah.
And if they were to like mail a receipt like through an email, like, you know, their asses would be in prison, you know. And, you know, Hillary Clinton did like, you know, was it like thousands of emails or whatever, you know, there was just like a ton of shit, you know. Yeah. And when Comey, like the FBI guy, was talking about it, he spent like 14 minutes describing how Hillary Clinton broke the law. And then at the end, he's like, oh, and we're not going to, you know, choose to press charges against her.
Yeah.
You know,
but if anybody does this exact same thing in the future, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, it's just
almost verbatim.
It just bothers me when Johnson will go after Trump like all fucking day, like crazy, like to the jugular, you know. But it just seems like he doesn't say much about Hillary. It almost sounds like he's just trying to hurt Trump. Which, I mean, I think it's ridiculous because I think he could take more voters away. I think he could take more votes away from Hillary. Really, I think Johnson appeals possibly even better to liberals.
Especially with Weld on the ticket.
Well, I thought that before, but yeah, with Weld on the ticket, even more so, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't understand that strategy at all.
Now, Weld is another subject altogether because he seems to be like totally buddy with Hillary. He's like, yeah, I worked with her. She's a nice lady, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that part of it's ridiculous. They just go after Trump.
You know, I've never noticed that at all.
Watch for it now, and I bet you will. And I don't know. I just think that's a little ridiculous. It's sometimes I wonder, you know, are they being paid by Hillary Clinton to run like this, you know, just to hurt Trump?
Well, that'd be
pretty
massive
crazy.
Mindfuck.
Yeah.
God damn you, Gary Johnson. I trusted you.
I don't know.
You can do better for yourself than that.
Yeah.
Gary doesn't seem like that kind of guy, though.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, we met him. Like, he doesn't seem like that kind of dude.
And I voted for the guy in 2012. Like, I'm a huge Gary Johnson fan.
Yeah, I voted for him, too.
Once again, he was my pick. And, you know, he's still going to get my vote. But I just feel like he could be handling it better. You know, I'm being an armchair quarterback here, you know, which I'm sure a lot of people are right now. And I'm sure some people are sick of hearing us whine and complain about how Gary could do his job better, you know. So
we're just concerned. That's all.
That's just something I just wanted to throw out there.
Yeah. Speaking of Hillary, there have been calls from Republican senators for her security clearance to be revoked.
Yeah, which I think it's totally hilarious.
Fucking hilarious, yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw one of the senators was asking Comey from the FBI, well, if any other employee had committed all these acts, would their clearance be revoked? And it's so funny because at first he was asked if he should revoke Hillary's clearance, and he's like, well, no. And then when they asked if anybody else did this, he's like, oh. He couldn't really say no. Yeah. I don't know. It's just really fucked up. It's infuriating right now, because Hillary's like the embodiment of the status quo, and she's done like all this fucked up shit. She obviously should be in a cage, not running for president.
Right.
You know, her security clearance should be revoked in the least.
Yeah, at the very least. I mean, it's just there are zero repercussions. I mean, she's not even getting fined, is she? I mean, it's like there's nothing, not even a slap on the wrist. Just she just had to spend a little time in court, or not even in court, in a fucking interview room. Yeah, it's frustrating shit. Moving on, you guys want to talk about Michael Graves?
Yeah, so Michael Graves of the Misfits. I'd heard this recently, but I'm not sure. I forget where I read it, but I just saw that this week. I believe it was an interview on RT, where Michael Graves was interviewed, and now he identifies as a libertarian.
For years, he was a very vocal Republican.
Yeah. Or he would at least say that he was like on the right, and
I guess.
And he sounded really dumb. You're probably thinking you probably saw the same thing that I saw. It was on I think it was on the Daily Show.
Maybe I saw whatever it was. I saw on YouTube.
Yeah, like Graves was interviewed, and it was about like punk voter and shit. I think it was like Rock Against Bush or whatever.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, and then Graves was like a total like Republican douchebag. But anyways, now he's identifying as a libertarian. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, and of course, it'd be cool to see.
Did he say anything beyond that? Like, did he say like I've accepted the non-aggression principle?
No,
it's my guiding philosophy.
I don't know if he's that far into it.
Yeah.
But he did say, since 9/11, he started to question like the military-industrial complex and shit.
Right.
And like the interventionism.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said that he thinks punk rock is very libertarian in nature, which I think we all can agree with that.
Yeah, totally.
I would say so.
So that was an interesting thing this week that seemed to tickle my fancy.
Oh, so, giggity.
Yeah. So I guess that's about it for tonight, guys. Until next time, live free.
That is shed, drenching the flags of the tax bombs in red. Was its way of few at the expense of the many. So did the cards and the machine. You can't justify killing by economic gain. For God, country, and democracy, you can put freedom in gunpoint in a foreign land. You support the troops, then bring them home. I believe that you will do the best for you, and I believe that we have the power, I hate the state, and I know I'm a slave. We can make the break the power. Society owes individuals nothing more than non-interference with natural rights. Once a virtuous person fully comprehends the non-aggression principle, the violence of the state becomes obsolete.